They say real men don't talk. I say they just haven't been asked the right questions. This ain't about trends. It's about truth, about faith that don't fold, love that costs something, and manhood that still means something. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to build. This is the Always Up Podcast, Season 2, Too Real to Win. For the men still trying to love right in a world that loves wrong. Every man eventually walks into a room nobody warned him about. No windows, no noise, just silence, and the version of himself he kept avoiding. It's not a room for the broken, it's a room for the honest. The place you enter when pretending stops working, when performing stops paying, when shrinking stops protecting you, when being liked starts costing too much. Most men never talk about this room because walking into it means walking away from the person everyone else preferred. And that's where the war starts. Because once you sit in that chair, under that single light, you learn something the world does not want real men to learn. Life will not get easier just because you tell the truth. Life will not get fair just because you work on yourself. Life will not clap just because you finally became solid. Being real is not rewarded, it's resisted. And that's why most men never make it out of this room. They compromise, they bend, they decorate the lie, they trade authenticity for applause. But the man who stays, the man who stares at himself without flinching, the man who chooses truth over performance, he becomes something dangerous, not to the world, to the illusion. Because a man who cannot be bent cannot be used. A man who cannot be bribed cannot be controlled. A man who cannot be guilted cannot be manipulated. You ever notice how the moment you stop being convenient, people act like you turned into a villain? Or how folks who love the old you start glitching the second you tell the truth? And that is when life stops playing fair. You become the man people talk about but cannot handle. You become the man rooms adjust for. You become the man who makes others uncomfortable without saying a word. And here is the punchline nobody wants to admit. The world loves confident men until they meet one. That is too real to win. There's a reason being real feels dangerous now. Not because honesty changed, because the culture did. We live in a world that loves confidence until a man uses it. A world that praises authenticity until it exposes somebody's comfort zone. A world that demands clarity, then calls it attitude. Everybody says they want the truth until you hand it to them without a filter. Clarity is only rude to people who depended on your confusion. See, today's culture is built on performance, highlight reels, curated emotions, convenient boundaries. People do not want who you are. They want the version that doesn't challenge them. That is why real men feel like a threat, not because we're loud, because we're clear. Real doesn't hurt people. It exposes them. The truth isn't sharp. Your denial's thin. And clarity scares people who survive on confusion. Let me break it down even cleaner. If you tell the truth, you are too blunt. If you set a boundary, you are too guarded. If you stop chasing validation, you are acting different. If you require respect, you are not easy to deal with. Translation: people don't miss the old you. They miss how easy you were to control. And once you do that, the room shifts. People start measuring your tone instead of your intentions. They judge your silence instead of their own behavior. They get offended at your peace because it no longer includes their chaos. That's the part nobody admits. Being real is not the problem. People's attachment to your performance is. And the more a man evolves, the more he outgrows the audiences that clap for who he used to be. The women listening right now know this too. A man who's done hiding feels different, moves different, talks different. He's not angry. He's aware. And aware men mess up the whole ecosystem. Because you cannot manipulate a man who finally knows himself. You cannot bait him with validation. You cannot confuse him with mixed signals. You cannot guilt him with expectations you never earned. In a world built on smoke and mirrors, a solid man is a disruption. This is why being too real feels like losing sometimes. You are not losing. You are leaving the rooms that depended on your blind spots. Not a culture of men versus women, a culture of comfort versus truth. And truth always makes somebody uncomfortable. You're not hard to love, you're just no longer easy to use. Every man has a moment when the room he's in doesn't match the man he's becoming. Not because he's better, because he's clearer. And clarity changes everything. Let me paint it without giving him a name. Let's call him the dude. Dude stopped running from himself, stopped shrinking to keep the peace, stopped pretending confusion was humility, stopped letting people rent space in his life with overdue expectations. He didn't announce it. He didn't post it. He didn't warn anybody. He just changed the locks. Growth feels like distance to people who never planned to meet you there. And the people who benefited from the old version of him took it personal. Suddenly he was cold. Suddenly he was distant. Suddenly he was not the same. No, he just stopped auditioning for roles he never agreed to play. He wasn't angry. He wasn't bitter. He wasn't damaged. He was awake. And waking up makes you look different to people who preferred you asleep. He didn't go quiet. He just stopped wasting breath. He stopped entertaining half-truths, stopped over-explaining, stopped keeping the peace at the cost of his own. And here's the part that rattled people the most. He didn't ask for permission to evolve. He didn't check if they were comfortable. He didn't ask if they were ready. He didn't soften the shift so they could adjust. He just grew. Because men don't schedule their evolution around who benefits from their dysfunction. And here's where it gets interesting. Women read this evolution like a language. Women sense evolution the way men sense danger. At first he feels different, then he feels distant. Then you realize he's not distant at all. He's just finally standing where he always should have been. That version of a man is hard to manipulate, hard to confuse, hard to interrupt. A man who outgrows the room doesn't need the room's applause. He only needs the truth. And once a man becomes that honest with himself, every connection adjusts. Some fall away, some fall back, some fall in line, but he doesn't fall because the man who outgrows the room isn't looking for validation. He's looking for alignment. There's a moment every man hits where the noise drops and the truth finally has room to breathe. Not the truth you tell people, the truth you whisper to yourself when nobody's grading your strength. And watching that man outgrow his room, it made me look at the rooms I stayed in too long, the rooms I dimmed myself for, the rooms I tolerated because walking away felt dramatic. Some men don't leave rooms. They just shrink until it feels like home. And that's where the problem starts. We think survival is the same thing as peace. We think endurance is the same thing as wisdom. We think silence is the same thing as maturity. It's not. Silence just keeps you from hearing how tired your soul actually is. Some men don't protect their peace. They hide behind it. Every man has a version of himself he's scared to introduce to the world because that version would expose everyone who benefited from the weaker one. Growth isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's not emotional. Growth is when you finally stop lying to yourself about who you are and who you've been pretending to be. And that's the part men struggle with. Not the world, not relationships, not women. Facing the man in the mirror without excuses is the hardest conversation you'll ever have. You know what hit me the hardest? Every time a man evolves, he has to process the grief of the man he used to be. That's the part nobody talks about. You don't just lose people, you lose versions of yourself that once protected you. And protection becomes prison when you forget you built the walls. This is where too real to win starts to make sense. You are not losing because you're real. You are losing access to environments your growth can't survive in. Some men aren't quiet because they're cold. They're quiet because they're finally thinking clearly. Clarity doesn't break men. It exposes the lies they built their strength on. That's the reflection men avoid, and the one real men eventually walk toward. There comes a point where the reflection stops hurting and starts making sense. There comes a moment when the truth doesn't tap you anymore. It sits you down, where the man you avoided starts looking like the man you're supposed to become. Most men never talk about this moment. It's quiet. It's subtle. It's not fireworks. It's not some motivational montage. It's a man sitting still and realizing he's finally done lying to himself. This is where the reset begins. Not with revenge, not with proving something, not with trying to be understood. It begins with choosing yourself without apologizing for it. There's a different kind of power that hits you. When you stop acting like the wounded version of yourself is the permanent version of yourself. You start moving with intention. You start speaking with clarity. You start noticing who respects the man you're becoming instead of mourning the man you used to be. Some people liked you better broken. Broken men bend, broken men soften, broken men negotiate, broken men tolerate what healed men would never entertain. But the moment you heal, you stop being convenient. And convenience is a currency some people can't live without. You're not losing. You're recalibrating. You're not falling off. You're falling back into alignment. A healed man doesn't move different. He moves honest. You are not becoming colder. You are becoming clearer. And clarity, real clarity, doesn't make life easier. It makes it cleaner. This is the part of the rebuild where the world doesn't clap. The world adjusts. It has to. Because a man who stops performing is a man the world can no longer predict. And once you reach that point, there is no version of you worth going back to. This isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about reclaiming yourself. Not louder, not harder, not angrier. Just real. Real enough to stand on who you are without shrinking, without explaining, without performing. The reset isn't becoming a new man. It's becoming the man you were supposed to be before the world taught you to hide. Some men had a father who showed them how to stand. Some had a mother who taught them how to feel. Some had an uncle who taught them how to survive. I had a grandma, and the way she talked to me, it wasn't soft. It wasn't dramatic. It was just truth that didn't blink. When I think about the man I'm becoming now, I still hear her voice the same way I heard it growing up. It sounded a little like this. Goldie, I saw the weight you carried before you ever had the words for it. So let me tell you something clear. You are not difficult. You are not too much. You are not hard to love. You just learned to hold life by yourself before you ever learned how to put anything down. And son, you don't push people away. You just refuse to entertain what doesn't feel true. The little boy in you thought silence kept the peace. The man in you knows silence kept the pain. Strength ain't pretending you're fine. Strength is telling the truth and standing in it without folding. And let me say this, before you roll your eyes at me, if common sense was furniture, half these folks still wouldn't sit on it. So don't you dim your light for anybody stumbling in the dark. A man who walks honest will lose people, but he will never lose himself. And if the world can't handle your truth, that ain't your burden to fix. I raised you to stand, not shrink. Keep going. You're closer than you think. A man who knows himself is never too real to win, and he's the last one who will ever lose. Love, Grandma. When my grandma's voice faded, it hit me. Manhood is rarely broken down step by step. Most of us learn by surviving what should have been taught. So if you're a young dude tuned in, trying to figure out women, discipline, honesty, purpose, I hope this gave you something solid to stand on. Not noise, not ego, just the kind of truth men grow into. Before I wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Some want forever, but you still negotiate like forever is on sale. Clarity will tell you who's real. Commitment will tell you who can stay. And next episode, yeah, we're walking straight into that question head on. Breathe now, because the next one might make you rethink everything. Thanks for listening. If this episode hit home, share it with somebody who needs to hear it. This season, Too Real to Win, is for the men still trying to love right in a world that loves wrong. No clout, no gimmicks, just truth. I'm Brian B. Turner, and this is the Always Up podcast. Until next time, stay focused, stay faithful, and always up.